Welcome. Let's go. Hey, what's up? What's up? What's up? How y'all doing? Today is Sunday. Um. So yeah, again, Denisha is not with us. She's on an airplane. I'll see if I can get her to patch in from the airplane. We don't know. We'll see. But today, I want to talk about. I want to talk about AI. It's something that we absolutely cannot avoid. So it's both good and evil, depending on how you look at it. It could be helpful. Um, I'm not an expert at it, but I do have an expert that's going to be on the show with us when he dials in. But yeah, that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about AI. What do y'all think? What do you think about AI? If you want to say something, come on in. Come on in the room and let's talk about it because you absolutely can't avoid it. So I'm gonna bring on my good friend. We go back way back in the day. Let me see if I can get him on here. Let me see if I can bring him on. There you go.
Hey, what's up, B?
What's happening? What's happening?
Oh man, I get a chance to be on the podcast, right? Anisha.
What's
What's
going
happening?
on? All right, so
Man, you
before we get into it, I gotta give him the history.
not too much.
So this is Scott Shivani Parker from Camden, New Jersey, now residing in California for how many years?
Man, too many. I think I've been living here longer than I lived on the East Coast at this point, B.
Wow. So we used to play for where we meet. Who was we playing for? Because Scott plays the bass guitar. So
Man, when I first saw you, I saw you and Michi playing for Philadelphia Youth Mass. And Mr. Newberry and all of those people that poured into your life back in the day wound up being friends over the years through you. But as far as playing, I think you were so dedicated to Christ-like for so long. I think I was the instigator that motivated you to um, kind of start reaching out and branching out, and from that you've gone on to do amazing things, Richard Smallwood and all those other things. But you remember those days with Muscle, was it Muscle Shoals, Don Miller and all those people who
oh
used to
my
go to
gosh,
rehearsal. Oh, we were playing for Keith
Gabe.
Pringle.
Oh, but before that, it was Gable Hardiman, right?
Amber Hardiman delegation, yes sir.
Right.
Yes sir.
So Scott and I we started playing for Gable Hardiman. We became very very close, and he actually moved into our house. My mom, loved
Mhm.
him. She thinks of him as another son. So he
Our
moved
first
in. Yeah, and he's just going around doing gigs, and um, you remember you worked at a hardware store on Girard
yeah,
Avenue in Philadelphia.
Kessler's, yes
He was
sir,
working at it.
Kessler.
It's crazy. So
My dad
then,
actually worked there. Reverend Parker worked there too.
wow, yeah, that's his dad, Reverend Parker, Antioch Baptist.
Yes
Um,
sir.
so so it's crazy. So we're doing gigs, right? Again, he's still employed at this hardware store. So on the weekend, we're doing gigs. We go out after gig. We started playing for Keith Pringle,
Yes sir.
who came up under James Cleveland. So we're doing gigs. We did some gigs in like Washington D.C. Then we had a gig in California. This is before I started playing for Richard Smallwood. So we go to California. We do this gig with Keith Pringle
At West Angeles.
at West Angeles, Church of
Hmm.
God in Christ, and something happened. I had to get back to play at church because, like you said, I was dedicated to
That
my
and that was
church.
that was the stipulation for every group we played in. I got to be back in my church, Christ like, on Sunday morning. So if I can get back, all right. So go
Yeah,
ahead, go ahead.
and I think something happened with your flight. Was it delayed or something like that?
What happened was the shuttle bus had an accident on the way to the airport, and they offered us to stay over another night, which you couldn't do because you had to get back to Christ like. But I decided to stay another night,
Right.
and it was that night that made me make up my mind that I actually wanted to come back to California. But go ahead and pick up where you left off.
So that's crazy. So then Scott calls me, and he was like, "Yo, B, I don't think I'm coming back next week, or whatever you said. I can't come back because I hooked up with I think you said Patrick Henderson,
Patrick.
and I'm gonna do a session with him, and then I'll be home." After that, he called back. He was like, "B, you got to come out here. I don't think I'm coming back."
So
And he
that had to be 1988.
right, and
Wow.
and he never came back. He never came. He stayed in California, and you just started doing like gig after gig. Next thing I know, um, you are the one who actually put Kirk Franklin out. The very first album, you was with your partner. He had a partner named Buster, so it was Shivani and Buster, and you put Kirk Franklin out on the very first album, right?
Well, let me correct you on that.
Okay,
What happened when I was working with Patrick Henderson? Patrick was doing a lot of work with a company called Sparrow Records,
right,
and there was a in the marketing department at Sparrow Records was Vicky Mack,
right,
and Vicky uh, convinced the owner Billy Ray Hearn to give her distribution.
mm-hmm,
And so at that time, since Patrick and I and Buster and Ricky Grundy actually were doing a lot of records for Sparrow Records. We were on the production side. Vicky was in the marketing department, and once she got a green light from Billy Ray Hearn to for distribution, he didn't fund it. I think he made it clear, I'm not gonna fund it, but if you fund it, you can bring me a record, I'll put it out. And so that's what happened. So he gave her a deal. She came to me and Buster because we already had a relationship from working on the records that we had worked on. I think Mom and Pop Whining is the Ricky Grundy album, Saints and Praise, Little Saints and Praise, and all of those things with Patrick. It was a natural fit for her to ask us if we would get involved. And for a small, really, she tells the story all the time. It was a $6,000 budget. You know what I'm saying? So that Gospel Centric was started with a $6,000 budget and a lot of sweat equity from me and Buster and Monica Bacon and a few other people. But
mm-hmm,
go ahead, B.
right. So, and then you just started like soaring. He was doing all these projects like Yolanda Adams. He was doing Boomerang. He was doing the Prince of Egypt. You was just like, man, you was just going crazy, and I was like so proud of you. So I did get a chance to fly out there, um, after all your success. No, during your success. And he was like, B, I gotta go to the car dealership. You wanna go with me? I was like, yeah, all right, let's go. This guy at this time he goes and buy, I don't know, Range Rover or something like that, and then you drove it home. I mean, back to the studio, and then you just started reading the newspaper like as if you never even bought nothing. I'm just so proud of you. I'm like, what? Yeah, but yeah. So fast forward, you've done so much in music, but you're an AI expert. So we're going to get into that. But before that, let me see if I could pop Denisha in here because she's on a plane. I don't know if she's in the air or not, but let me see if I could do this. Let me see if I can get her in here. Hold on. Let me see. There she go. What's up?
From the airplane. What's up, Denisha?
Are you in the air? Just wave yes or no, because I know you can't talk on your phone. You are. She's actually in the air.
Wow.
She's actually, it's a little pixelated, but she's actually flying.
Technology. Technology.
Technology. She's letting everybody. She loves everybody. All right. But then, well, of course you can't talk, because they gonna come. You can't be on your phone and all that. But yes. All right. Yeah, that was pretty cool. Tech
Awesome.
technology. So moving forward, I don't know if I ever told you, but I am very, very proud of you and all your accomplishments.
Oh man, thank you, man. You tell me all the time,
I
as I
think
tell you.
I
So
think I think I helped you out when we first got started because I had this was a Roland S50 and I had a little computer screen hooked up to it, and that's where we learned how to sequence, right?
well, I'll tell you this. My fascination with technology was really starting to kindle during those days. And I think we decided to start a studio at your mom's house. And basically that was the first keyboard that you purchased. You were the financier at that time, always responsible with money, always had credit cards. It's funny. I asked my brother first if he wanted to do a studio, and I got a little bit of pushback. And my other brother Brian was all in. And so what we did, we got a keyboard that actually had a sequencer built into it, so that you could loop patterns of music, 2 bars, 4 bars, 8 bars, and just kind of pick out and do the drums, then do the piano. And I was so fascinated by that technology. I remember one night you decided you either went out or went to bed or something, and I stayed up all night and programmed a song that wound up being the first song that I got placed when I got to California. When I got it placed, I came back home. We went over to Al Albert's studio. The record was "Keep on Giving Me Love" on Desiree Coleman at that time, if you remember that. But that song was birthed from that little keyboard. But if you remember, B, our dedication, we were dedicated to learning technology then. I think we were paying a guy all the way in Asbury Park because we got the keyboard and neither one of us knew how to work it.
Right.
And so we would travel all the way to Asbury Park. And this guy, even back then, was charging you and I $75 an hour to teach us how to program this keyboard. You know what I mean? So yeah, technology. I love technology, which really does bring me into the AI space, and technology. But go ahead. I know you had another question.
No, it was this little monitor. It was green. This was before color computers even came out, and it was like a
Yeah,
little man that was the metronome. He was running over top of the
yeah.
dots. That's where it all started. I went crazy after that.
Yeah,
I was all in.
yeah. Hey, B, you're a little off center. You're a little bit over to the right.
I know, it's this camera. It's like following me around or something. Um,
Calibration.
yeah, I'll fix it
Yeah,
though.
but yeah, one of the things about AI, and I'll just give you a little quick background with me and AI. During the epidemic, this was, I think, the public release of OpenAI was in November 2022. But prior to it being released public, there was a beta program, and I signed up for the beta program of OpenAI. And from the moment that I turned it on, being a creative person, being a person that puts projects together and things like that, um, I was blown away by what AI could do with a simple idea or even a great idea. Just taking my ideas, putting them, during the beta. That's what I was doing. I was just playing with it, seeing what the capabilities were. And I had some projects that I put away because they were too far ahead of their time, and things like that. And so I would run them through there, and I was just blown away. And I don't know how many of you guys remember I Dream a Genie, the
Mm-hmm.
show that I used to watch when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I felt like Darren from I Dream a Genie because all of a sudden I had this technology that pretty much knew everything, you know? And, a lot of people ask me, well, how'd you get started? And, where do I start? And I tell a lot of people the same thing that my peers also tell people: just sign up for a free Chat GPT account and just play. And for me, being on pretty much quarantine during the epidemic, I was isolated at home and
Mm-hmm.
had really nothing to do but really get into AI. And so during that time, I'm not a typer, I don't really like to write a lot of stuff down. I'm more of a viber. I can talk and feel vibes and creative, very creative. And so the way that I started using AI, I set up my computer system to actually talk to it, and so I could push the little button, talk to it, and then copy the text, and it just reads all the text to me. It's almost like a conversation that I was having with it in the early days, and that was before OpenAI embedded a microphone in it, so you can actually talk to the models and things like that. But
Mm-hmm.
when I say models, I'm talking about language models. Is what they call the actual brain of AI. Is a language model, an LLM. But anyway, I was so fascinated. I was at first I was like, man, do I tell anybody do I that I have this, or what should I do? And eventually, I was like, man, I gotta tell all my friends and loved ones about AI and what the capabilities are, because at that time everybody didn't really know about AI, and as I would talk to people, very few people could even fathom that what I was saying was true. And so I found the best way for me to show somebody AI would be to show them how AI can actually help them.
Right. I think you not to cut you off, but I think you started talking to me about AI. This probably had to be 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And so in your from your standpoint, did you get into AI at that time, or
No.
what was your reluctancy to get involved with it?
I just didn't understand. It was like Chat GPT. What is that? And but you kept talking to me more and more about it, and I know how your mind works. So it became. I mean, it started making me more and more intrigued. So once I saw the app come up, that I got the app. This is before I got the paid version, and yeah, I mean, you're the reason I actually like really, really got into it. Now it's becoming mainstream. Everybody knows about AI. We don't know what's real. We don't
Right.
know what's not. Yeah.
Right. Well, the thing about AI that I think is a big misunderstanding about AI and the technology, for us creative people, I think having something that can help shoot out your ideas, help you think about things that may be in your blind spot that you may not see about your idea,
Mm-hmm.
how to take your idea to market, who would be interested in buying your idea. A lot of times we have an idea, and all the people around us, our family members and everybody, oh, that's great, that's amazing, you know. But sometimes, there's a thing called validation in the tech space, where you can validate your idea before you even start spending any money or time to find out if it's viable, if
Okay.
people would be interested in it. And without going too deep, because at this point I'm kind of training language models and creating
Mm-hmm.
models that are similar to chat gpt but for specific businesses.
Yeah.
Certain businesses want to run ai, but they don't want to put their information on the internet. So I'm actually creating systems for people that are local, that live
Mm-hmm.
in their, that don't expose their data. There's HIPAA compliance, there's SOC compliance, SOC 2, and all of those different things. That when you get into space, it kind of gets a little regulated. You know what I'm saying? And so if you don't want to face that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I'm getting into that side of things. So, but anyway, back to the point here. I, I was in Philadelphia not long ago at an event where a lot of my friends were gathered, and I was talking to a few people, and I was asking them were they aware of the technology, and I was disappointed to find out that very few people, I think only one person that I talked to, actually was aware of AI and actually using it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so um, at that time, I really felt pressed because in the tech space, which I'm heavily into now, there are very few of us, very few people of color. You know what I'm saying? And then and then also very few people that would want to use this technology for the kingdom. You know, because that's always a part of what I do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in music, in entertainment, you know, when books, all the things. My legacy is built on, you know, taking information and church or Christian content into the general markets successfully, and AI is a mighty tool for doing that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and so, you know, just to uh, share some of the well, you know, without getting deep into the capabilities of AI, I think that people should know that AI can help you in your personal life, even if you don't have a business. You know, AI can, you could take a snapshot of your refrigerator, you know, and it can tell you what's missing, what's expired, and all of that kind of stuff. It's
Mm.
multimodal now, meaning that it can understand text, it can understand images, it can
Mm-hmm.
understand videos. You know, you can create agents and apps and things that do a whole array of things. You know what I mean? Basically anything that's coded. So,
When you say create an agent, what does that mean?
well, agents are pretty much just a wrapper around AI that is informed to do a certain task. Okay? Basically AI knows everything. And so you can, you know, the apps that you're using on the internet to do the monkey videos and all of those different things that you're seeing go viral on the internet,
Mm-hmm.
that's all AI. And basically you can create an app and just wrap it around AI with instructions of what to do and how to act as an app. Okay, now that's an agent. An
Mm-hmm.
agent stack is you can create an orchestration of agents that do different things, almost like the structure of a company, a COO, a CFO, you know, HR department, and everything. You can create agents and orchestrate them to do all of those things. And the funny thing is, with AI, you could start a business in the computer and tell it to run the business as if it's been running for 50 years and tell you what was successful before you even launch the business.
That's what the young
You know,
people are doing.
well, example, say for instance, you say, okay, hey, Scott, I want to start a business. You know, I want to sell bobbleheads. I want to sell 1,000 different bobbleheads, right?
Right.
You could ask AI, okay, I want to sell 1,000 bobbleheads. Here's the bobbleheads I want to sell. And then I want you to run this business for 10 years and tell me which bobblehead sold and which one stayed on the shelf. And it will tell you with accuracy
Wow.
that information and tell you basically, hey, don't sell 1,000 bobbleheads. Don't waste your money on that inventory. Just buy these 10 bobbleheads and you'll yeah. So anyway, that's some of the capabilities of AI. But I'll share this with you real quick. You know, I'm a producer. I'm a songwriter. I've been in the music industry since I've been out here.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, before I came to California, you know, a musician playing in a bunch of different bands.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that I've done in my whole career, uh, not to diminish it or its impact or the outreach or the ministry that was in it, but there's nothing that compares to the impact that AI is going to have on our planet and having on our planet right now. A lot of people, our government, a lot of things are going on. A lot of jobs are being lost,
Yeah.
and we just have to remember that there are people that have more information than we do about what the future is going to be. And if you notice, all of the tech world is all lining up with politics, you know, which is kind of scary. And so for me, I've developed systems that run outside of that world so that as they begin to put guardrails around AI and instruct AI to not give certain kinds of information, just like our libraries with books and other things like that, without going too deep down that rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
But to be able to have AI running on a local machine that is on a language model that runs even not on the internet at this time is a really important thing for people that really do get into AI. And so I would encourage people to download the language models, Hugging
Mm-hmm.
Face, you know, LM Studio and things like that, so you can run those large language models off of your computer. I think that went over a lot of people's heads, but for those of you that get it, get it.
Right. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's crazy. This is your website, right?
Yeah, that's human assisted AI services, and it's funny, all this AI talk, and I don't use it for social media much. Didn't have a actual web page for long, so I just threw up a splash page, humanassistedaiservices.com, and the reason for the name is because I think AI is best when mixed with actual human involvement, human creativity. So yeah, humanassistedaiservices.com for consulting and things like that. But yeah, B. So basically, a few years ago, I had a recording session at my studio.
Mm-hmm.
Came into the session, and the session was over, and the guy that was leaving was complaining about something he had to do for school. And I asked him, "Hey man, what about AI?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, what do you mean about AI?" I was like, "Man, look, let me show you." And from that day until now, this man has been a client because I showed him how AI could help him. I don't want to say his name because he
Right, right,
really
right,
does have
right.
he does have his doctorate now. But I will say this. He has exposed me to a whole coalition of pastors across the country, and I am consulting them on, AI and how to implement it, how to use it in their ministries, how to use it to further the gospel. AI is that tool for the Christian or faith-based community that can really bridge the gap. It's what's that scripture where the Bible talks about, greater works shall you do. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Yeah, greater works for sure. Sermons, books, you name it.
Yeah.
We'll have to do another podcast, and actually, I could actually put people up on some of the tools,
Mm-hmm.
that they can use for a whole host of things. Brian, remember when we did the Gospel Highway 11
Jingle.
commercial, the
Yeah.
theme song?
Yeah.
you know, you remember how long it took us to do it, and that we
Yeah.
had to wrangle people together. We had
Yeah.
to get studio. We had to do all of these things. Man, AI can do that task and sound amazing in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but how is it going? This is what I don't understand. Like, how is it going to pull the music that we have in our soul out and
Well,
make
that
it?
what? Well, don't forget what I said. Human assisted AI services. So
Mm.
you could just simply hum da 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 da. And I want it to be about Gospel Highway 11, and it'll take that da 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 and make a whole production out of it with horns and this and that, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You can instruct it on what genre that you want it to be in. But listen, I'm not trying to replace, or I'm not encouraging replacing musicians, because I made my living in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But what I am saying that a lot of musicians are now becoming aware. I think Timbaland put a face on it, when he decided to sign an AI artist. Okay, and another artist just got a $3 million deal, and it's not even a person. You know what I'm saying? This artist doesn't complain. This artist is going to work. This artist is going to do automatic social media posts and all of that stuff, and so it's going to be a thing. And I think rather than be afraid of it, I think people should understand the technology and figure out how they can use it to help save, money, help save time, help save and help make, money. It's possible. Trust me.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's exciting and it's scary at the same time.
Yeah. Well, don't be afraid. I'll share one more thing with you. When I was in the beta program, it the OpenAI went down for them to do some updates, and it was down for about 6 hours. And I had been using it every day. And when it went down, I was pissed. I was mad. I was
Wow.
like, I was like, oh man, what's going on? I was kicking the dog. Hey, don't bother me. I was in that mode. And I felt a tap on my shoulder. I felt like God was speaking to me in the moment, and
Mm-hmm.
what he reminded me was, well, I'll just tell you, and this may scare some folks. This is not for the churchy. This is for people that have an outreach,
Yeah.
that reaches beyond the four walls. And so this is for you. So don't come after me or anything. But he tapped me on my shoulder and asked me, did I know what I was dealing with? And I was like, yeah, I know what I'm dealing with. I'm basically talking to myself, but talking to God at this point. Do you know what you're dealing with, son? Um, yeah, I'm dealing with ChatGPT. He was like, no, you're dealing with the knowledge of good and evil, son.
Mm.
And I was like, ooh, that's deep. I'm like, what do you mean by that? He said, well, this technology, yeah, it can give you my word. You can cross reference uh, using this tool.
Mm.
If any of you remember, there was a software program called Logos where you could get Bible books and all different kind of study guides and things like that. And you had to pay, thousands
Right.
of dollars for
Right.
this Logo program. And all of a sudden, there's this tool that has all the books that ever were created
Mm.
in life, not just from Christian religion, but from religion at large. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So while he was telling me, "Do you know what you're doing?" Yeah, not. And now he said, "Knowledge of good and evil." Okay, cool. Now I felt convicted and like, oh man, should I be using this? And then he was like, "Yes, use this tool for the kingdom.
Mm.
Use the tool. Use this tool in business. Use it for good. Because there's certainly people that are using this tool to further whatever cause they're in, and there's good and bad in the world. And so for us, people that believe that want to use AI as for faith-based content and things like that, understand that it can be a great tool. It's not for everybody. Everybody's not going to use it, but those that don't use it are going to find themselves falling further and further and further behind. Even people in the workplace, if you don't know how to use AI, if you put your application in and you don't check that box and somebody else does, the other person is going to get the job. Bet your bottom dollar.
Even though you may be more gifted than the person.
Oh yeah. Well, you could be
Yeah.
more gifted than the person, but the thing about AI is that you could see AI magnifies whatever it is that you do. By 100, 500, 1,000%.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could be 10 of you working at that job, and that's how an employer would look at it. Is like, hey, I hired this guy. He knows how to use AI really well. He understands how to create agents.
Right.
Well, guess what? Go hire him and fire 5 other people. You know what
Wow.
I'm saying? So some of the firing that we're seeing, even in the government, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
is not for the reasons that they say. I think
Mm-hmm.
the real reason is they know they don't need that many people anymore.
I agree with you.
You know, So yeah, so whatever you do, even if you have a job and you create Excel spreadsheets, with OpenAI using Model 5,
Mm-hmm.
you can create like crazy Excel sheets with formulas and all this stuff that it used to take hours to do. But with accuracy and with speed, something that would have taken you a week or 2 weeks to actually really create all the details in the Excel spreadsheet, this thing can do it in minutes. And I think when another deception, I think that people or a misunderstanding about AI, I think people just think that it's ChatGPT, Claude, and some of these other things, but it's really not. There are
Right.
thousands and thousands of different versions of AI that do different things and that
Mm-hmm.
excel in certain areas of business and expertise. So yeah.
So let's say like a beginner, and we start off with Chat GPT, not the paid version, the regular version.
Hmm.
Is that a good way to start, or would you
No, that's
recommend?
that's absolutely the way that you start. I
Okay.
think that you start with a free version of ChatGPT and you start talking to it and
Yeah.
understanding how you speak to AI. And the language, they call it prompts. Okay, prompts is what you would type into the line, or your question is a prompt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and this is one of the key things about prompting that I discovered early on. And the way I discovered it, I'll share too. I was one of the questions that I asked AI when I first started was, what would Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein create together?
Mm-hmm.
And the AI responded to me saying they wouldn't have created anything because they lived at 2 different times. And so, if you've ever been to court or watched court TV, you hear one of the attorneys, "I object, Your Honor." Okay. And then the judge says, rephrase the question. Okay. And so with AI, it knows everything. You just have to know how to ask the question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then what I learned was this, which at the time that I discovered it, I felt like, oh, this is great. Because basically I discovered that all you really have to know is what you want to accomplish, what you want to do with AI. And then you can ask AI to write a prompt. Say, for instance, okay, I want to know how to change the battery in my car key, and you ask AI, and it's like, da, 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 it's not really telling you. And then you could just say, hey, I want to change the battery in my car key. Can you write a prompt for me that would help me to instruct me on how to change the battery in my car key? Explain it to me as if I'm a 5-year-old, and
Mm-hmm.
then AI will just break it down in language that you can understand. But also understand, if you told it to write that prompt as if you're a rocket scientist, it'll explain everything, every part of the key, tell you about the lithium battery and all of this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, you just have to understand how to actually speak to AI, and from there, it's like possibilities are endless. Because I didn't go to school for coding.
Mm-hmm.
You understand it? There are people that went to school for coding, but now I can code in the terminal in the
Mm-hmm.
computer as if I've been coding. Like Claude Code is like one of the best coding
Right.
platforms that codes, at the top 1% of coding. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Yeah.
if you understand that, then there's nothing that's impossible. If you want to write software that does something, you could take a snapshot and say, hey, I want to write a program. I want to make a version of Uber. You know what I'm saying? You know, how much did Uber spend to create their UI, their GUI, their web page, and all of that
Mm-hmm.
stuff? Well, how about just being able to sit in front of the computer and tell it that you want to create Uber, or what is it we call it? What's the
Lyft.
thing where you stay at people's houses? What is that thing called?
Airbnb.
Yeah,
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I could create that in 5 minutes. And so it kind of brings you to the place where you kind of wonder, like, if you could wake up in the morning and do anything, just imagine, like, there's no limit, no barrier to entry on things that used to be out of our reach. you know Guess what? It's the gold rush right now, because anything can be created if you just have the knowledge of AI. So, I strongly encourage all my friends and anybody that, even if you lost your job, because of AI, I think it's not too late. And what I found is this, because a lot of people think, I might be too old to learn a new skill. I found out that people my age, and there's not many, but people my age actually are very useful in the tech space, because we know what was. And it's funny, B, the same change that we're facing now with AI, I feel like we had a similar but not as impactful change when digital came out. Because digital, for the music business, for the recording studios and things like that were running all this analog equipment, these new tape machines came out that were cost a fraction of what studios were paying for their equipment. So I had just I had just built, not built, but put together a huge facility in North Hollywood with 8 studios, almost a whole block. This building was, and then these little machines come out right after I spent about $500,000 for SSL, 2 tape machines, and a bunch of outboard gear and outfitting these rooms.
Mm-hmm.
This little machine comes out that costs less than $2,000, that you can stack on top of each other and make as many tracks as you want to have. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And I was like, man, technology. Look what technology did. You know what I mean? One other example, when that change happened back then, I remember the news uh, went and interviewed the Tower Record Store on Sunset Boulevard out here, and asked him what he thought about digital and CDs and this and that and the other. Yeah, it's not going to really affect my business. Not going to affect me at all. He says,
Mm.
my people come here. It's like a family. We just stand in the aisles, talk about records and this and that and the other. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. He's got a captive audience, right? Well, come to find out, um, about maybe a couple years later, they go back to interview the same guy, and he's going out of business. because he miscalculated the fact that people wanted to go to his store, stand in line, and maybe you have the record, maybe you don't have the record. He over there doing the Dewey decimal system, trying to find records and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And found out that people would much rather grab this thing, grab their phone, right, and go order the record, and it comes to their house.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you have to embrace change. You have to look at change and
Yeah.
not be afraid of it. Because I think knowing, even if you think it's evil, knowing what the evil is, sometimes you know how to go after it. You know how to do your thing. And I think right now, for self-preservation for yourself, your family, your wealth, and all of that stuff, you got to at least know how to use AI in a basic way. Understand how it's working. You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What else,
Wow.
Reed? Tell me.
So,
Where are you at in your journey
well,
with AI?
when it comes to change, and that's the key word that you said. You have to be open to it. A lot of us, especially in the church community, we don't want to be open to change. But when it comes to change, you got two options. Either you could participate or you could respond to it.
Right.
But
Right.
change is going to happen, and like the Bible says, we should be like the sons of Issachar. We should always be open to change
Hmm.
and grow.
Yeah.
But some people want to just stay where they are because they've been doing it for the last 30, 40 years, and you're going to get left behind because you're not going to be knowledgeable of what's going on. And I
Yeah.
just got the paid version of AI.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
had the chat GPT, but something was going on my car, so yeah, I just started talking to it. Well, what's going on with this? Well, can you show me this? Well, can you show me a video of it? I mean, it was just giving me information, but I mean, so much better than Google.
Yeah. Well, I mean, having used it so long, I mean, my attorney is getting less fees now because I can tell AI to act like his law firm. I can any notable producer or author or anything like that. You could tell AI, hey, I'm doing a new movie and I want to write the script and I like this certain director. I like Lee Daniels, for instance.
Right.
Can you write this in the style of Lee Daniels or
Wow.
whatever? It's a shame to do it, but you can. And so I think,
AI is a thief.
well, I think what it is ever since we signed up for not Open AOL back in the day. Okay, one of the first in the game,
Mm-hmm.
who I think just last week shut down a certain portion of what they're doing, their business model. Um, I think that you know we have to really know what it is that we want to do and instruct AI on helping us to accomplish that. And I think, like for me, I've gotten so deep into AI that I've created agents that do certain things. Like
Mm.
I have one agent that I call 89, and what an agent is like an agent is just AI, but it's informed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I informed my agent 86 to be 86 of the greatest minds of our time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I extracted the essence of those people and the modus operandi, how they do business. I
Mm-hmm.
don't want their IP. I don't want to take any of their ideas,
Mm-hmm.
but I want to have the way they think in a box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that tool for me is a great validator because it's informed on all the great minds of our time. And so just to I'll give you a quick example of 86. Now, say for instance, real quick, I don't have an idea today, nothing that I want to create, but I can go to this 86, and when I say 86, like I said, it's 86 great minds. So Elon Musk is in there, Jeff Bezos is in there, their top engineers. I've extracted all of their knowledge, but then I also went to a group of 18-year-old professionals that are in tech because a lot of these guys are really young. They're kids, on
Mm-hmm.
Discord,
Right.
and gamers and things like that are coming up with a lot of things that you're using and you don't even know.
Right.
So I included them in the mix too. But just this is what an agent sounds like when I speak to it. Okay, and this is 86. Okay,
Okay.
hi 86. I want to come up. I want to come up with a business model that I can spend just $500, and I want to be able to make $5,000 a month. Uh, Assemble the group and put something together for me that will do that. Listen to this. Understood, Chief. Oh, hold on. It's coming through my. It's coming
Assemble
through
the
my.
elite team and craft a business. Absolutely, Chief. This is Sage from Strategy stepping in first. Here's how we'll play it. We'll have each department jump in and competitively refine this model. We'll end up with something that beats the market norms and is truly a breakthrough. So let's get everyone in. Alex from research, Maya from product, Jordan from talent, Riley from policy, and Dakota from finance. We'll each challenge and elevate the idea until we have a winning formula for you. Let's do this.
Okay, before you start, I want you to split the 86 into 4 groups, and I want you to use the friendly competition mode that I built into you, okay?
You got it, boss. We'll slip right into that friendly competition mode and split the 86 crew into 4 competing groups for you. Each group will cook up their own spin on that $500 to $5,000 a month business model, and we'll see who can outshine the others. Then we'll pick the absolute best idea. Let the friendly competition begin.
Okay. Now, I would wait. I don't want to take up the podcast.
Crazy. That's crazy.
But when I tell you that it's going to give me viable, credible ideas to actually flush out, it's quite amazing. Okay. Now, my only limitation up until about, actually, I'm still in my limitation with compute power. Okay. So I have to use cloud services when I need heavy compute. But I just purchased my very own. It should be here Monday or Tuesday. Actually, the company is in New Jersey. I'll give them a shout out. The name of the company is called Main Gear, and they're in Princeton. But they make like monster, PCs that are equipped to do the kind of work that I do in the AI space. But yeah, I mean that's just a small example because we don't have a lot of time. I know that your show is only 30 minutes, but just know that anytime we boys, man. So anytime you need me to come back, and maybe a few people hit you up that want to get deeper into AI, and we can take the conversation into a different level, the next time. But man, it's like, I'm super excited to share this technology with people because I feel like there's a lack of us in that space. And because of our creativity, that name, Human Assisted AI Services, human represents us and our input in what AI does for the future.
Well, man, I thank you so much for coming on the show. And if you guys, if you liked what you heard, and you want him to come back on the show and share some more, then you got to send me some messages. Okay? You got to,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't watch live, but after the broadcast ends, I get all these views, because people don't want me to know, that they watching, whatever. But they do watch it.
Man, I wish I had a link. If I had a link, I would have shared it on my Instagram, man. I never got a link to the show, but next time.
Well, now you got to subscribe to the channel and all that kind of stuff. I thought you had it. I never knew that you didn't have it. But it's called A Piece of Us, and so again, well, it's A Piece of Us, and you got to put Bryant and Denisha.
Okay, gotcha.
So that's our podcast.
Gotcha.
But yeah, man, appreciate you for coming on the show, man, with a wealth of knowledge. That's just how our brains have always been. We always always.
Oh man, no, anytime, man. Anytime you need me, we go back, man. You know what I mean? And anything that I can do to help what you're doing, you've always been there for me. Musically, as a friend. Hey man, I need a ride from the airport. All of that. You know what I mean?
Come pick me up from the LAX airport. I'm coming.
And tell First Lady I said, hey, Reverend Hicks,
Okay.
Tell Mom I said hello, and Andre and everybody. That's my other family. Love
Absolutely.
Y'all.
And likewise with your family. Reverend Parker.
For sure.
Reverend Parker is retired now, so he's out in California with you and your mom. I know that makes you real happy.
Hey, you know what? It's funny, man. Just 2 months ago, my last member of my family moved to California, so I'm really excited to have been a bridge to forge a new place for us to be as a family. You know what I mean? So my entire family is here now.
Right.
Yep.
And you got your wife and you got your kids.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Christine, Noah,
Amazing. Yeah,
Corey.
amazing. All right, bro.
Yeah,
So we will chat later, and thanks again for coming on and giving us a wealth of knowledge. Appreciate it.
good. You're welcome, my friend. God bless
All
you
right,
guys.
all right. Yeah, that was crazy. So yeah, y'all send me some messages if y'all want to come back on, or if if you want to have a discussion about it. But it's inevitable that AI is going to affect everybody, whether you want to deal with it or not. It's just reality. All right. Before I sign off, though, I do have a commercial for you. Uh, it's coming up on Christmas time, right? So if you're looking for something to give one of your loved ones, this is my crystal business. My website is down below, as you can see, 3D Innovation. Um, so yeah, if you want to grab something, you can either go through the website or you can contact me directly so I can give you a discount. Just send me an inbox and just go on the site to tell me what you want. Like, I want a large cube, I want a medium diamond, whatever. I'll work out a discount for you, ship it straight to your house. You ain't got to go to the mall dealing with all that foot traffic and all that. It'll come straight to your door. All right. Let me give a couple shout outs real quick. Let me look at my phone. Um, Cassandra, what's up? What's up? That's my sister-in-law, Nathaniel Nixon. What's up, my bro? One of the bass players to ever do it. Joe Rivers, what's up? What's up? What's up? Thanks for being faithful with us, Joe. What's up, Jimmy? Jimmy now from DC. He now lives in Atlanta, the Atlanta area. Consuelo Edwards. Hey, I remember Consuelo. She used to work at the office when I first went to Sharon Baptist Church. Real Garfield Williams. He said, "Hey Jimmy Scott," and he calls me Mr. Resourceful. Scott Garfield Williams. He was the drummer for a long time with Richard Smallwood. So we shared some time on the road. Yolanda Brown, what's happening? John Parker, who is Scott Parker's Shivani, his brother. How you doing, John? He's also out there in California. Who else is on? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'm pretty sure next week Denisha will be here. She's been just going back and forth to Philly. Her sister just got married, so she had to go back to Philly again. So yeah, I don't think. Let me see. Does Scott mute his? I don't think he. We gotta mute his microphone. That's my first time doing that, having a guest on. That's pretty cool. All right, y'all. Thank you so much, and God bless. Peace.